So parallel session number 6, oral session about practice reports. My name is Patrick, I'm from Austria, and I'm just here to keep everything in order a little bit. Nobody's talking too long, too short. So I will right up front invite the first speaker up to the stage. It's Margarida Gomes from Porto, a local, and she will talk about to be a family doctor beyond the Atlantic, about the country of Samba.
So, good afternoon. My name is Margarida Gomes, and I'm here to bring you a bit of my experience with my colleague Rute Marques at a health center in Rio de Janeiro. We consider that exploring the reality of family practice is essential in other places, so we participated together in an exchange program during 1 month. So we know that Brazil is a close relative of Portugal, but it has its own organizational and cultural differences. So we thought this would be a unique opportunity so we can improve our personal and our professional skills. So tell you all the things that we learn in this exchange would be difficult in such a limited time. So I will try to resume the leading messages. So we aim to state the differences between the way primary care works and how applying them to Portugal could be relevant. Also to enhance the importance of multidisciplinarity and community interventions in family practice. And finally, to create an international bond, facilitating the residents' training and the exchange of experiences. In fact, all of this fits in the motto that led us here today: stronger together, charting the course to navigate the future. Primary care in Brazil, such as in Portugal, is seen as the gateway to the national health system. It is supposed to be patients' first contact when they need health care. So there's a lot of different health strategies, but the vision model in Rio de Janeiro is family health strategy. It was designed in the 90s and had its generalization in 1998, and its implementation and control is decentralized, ensured by the municipalities. So this leads to a lot of inequalities because we have some municipalities that have many institutions and others that have a lot of resources, and add an example and a case of success, such as Rio de Janeiro. Since the implementation of family health strategy, Rio de Janeiro went from a population coverage from 3.5% in 2009 to 70% in 2017. In fact, we can also establish a comparison between the family medicine in Brazil and in Portugal in about concerns about core competencies in family practice. For example, in Portugal, we have lists of users per family doctor, and that's different from what is done in Brazil. Where the intervention is limited geographically, and it is supposed to ensure attendance to all the patients in the determined area. Sorry. With the implementation of health strategy, emerged the family clinics that were in fact a milestone in the restructuring of healthcare. They try to integrate the deprived areas and simultaneously integrate health promotion and disease prevention. So in order to reinforce the importance of early diagnosis, to ensure a better life quality, and also to minimize hospital costs. We can also establish a link between this model and the Portuguese model in what concerns about teamwork and proximity to the community. But there's also some structural differences. For example, in family clinics, they have dental offices, they have a proper pharmacy, and they have also some complementary exams available, such as X-ray, electrocardiogram, ultrasound, and also some lab tests. But the teamwork is even more multidisciplinary thanks to the family health support nucleus, that it is composed by various professionals, for example, nutritionists, psychologists, physiotherapists, physical educators, and also social workers. They work together in order to ensure a holistic approach to the patient. But the main difference is the existence of community health agents. They are people who work at the family clinics and they live in the local communities. So they have this role of establishing the bond between the community and also the health professionals. And each one of them has a micro area of influence, and it is supposed that they know the gaps and the specific needs of those people. This is the face of the Cisvalent Family Clinic that was the place that received us. This was one of the family clinics that we merged with the family health strategy implemented in Rio de Janeiro. In fact, it is located in Ilha do Governador, near the international airport, and it ensures attendance to about 9,000 families in a total range of 21,000 people. It is divided in 6 sub-areas, and each one is very different from the other, with very different contexts also. So it is necessary to have a patient approach to deal with this. So also in a Cisvalent Family Clinic have all the above mentioned values. So the teams are composed by a doctor, a nurse, nurse technicians, dentists, oral health technicians, and also they work together so they can take the best care to the patient. They also can count with a participant or family health nucleus that has a psychologist, a dietitian, and a physical educator, and also a physiotherapist. Note to say that in Brazil, nurses also do some appointments, and they are able to prescribe some exams and also made some prescriptions. There's also some specific groups in the Cisvalent Family Clinic to ensure a more personalized and holistic work, as well to improve literacy and promote patients' empowerment. So in conclusion, family health strategy brought great changes to primary care, especially in Rio de Janeiro. And as we saw, there are some similarities, but also some differences when comparing to the Portuguese model. This was very important to us, so we can interiorize the role of the family doctor and the importance of family practice, and also to understand the importance of multidisciplinarity in family practice. So we also consider that sharing these exchange experiences contributes to the enrichment of our daily clinical practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this interesting insight to the Brazilian system. We always have 10 minutes time for talk and 5 minutes for possible questions. So if there is anything you want to know from Anna, how to get to Brazil, how to do such an exchange, now would be the time. Anyone? Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. How long was your exchange in Brazil?
How long?
Yeah.
1 month.
And do you want to come back there?
Yeah, I really want to come back.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much again, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, then I invite the next speaker, Susana Rita, also from Portugal, from Lisbon. And she will teach us something about childhood obesity experience in a primary care setting. Growing problem everywhere the children are getting fatter. So, welcome, Susana.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Susana Rita. I'm a resident at USF Samora Correia, and I'm here to talk to you about childhood obesity experience in a primary healthcare setting. So, why childhood obesity? Because it's a national problem, it's a worldwide problem, and it's a primary healthcare problem. First, I will talk to you about approach in managing the obese child, and then my experience in childhood obesity in a primary healthcare setting. So, in my first visit, I always do this 12-page questionnaire that I made, and all the information I need to approach the children, I get from this questionnaire. I always get some socioeconomic data, family information, personal information, exercise appointments, nutritional mistakes that they made. I always get this by this questionnaire. And I see the children, I talk to the family, I talk to the child, and then I will give them at the end of my first visit this 2-page with 15 rules, but they only get to choose 3 rules. I choose 1 rule, they get to choose another rule, and then the family gets to choose another rule. And then at the second visit, if they follow these 3 rules, we choose another 3 rules, and so on and so on. I allow 1 indulgence per week, and the child must value this time, and there's no limitation on party days, because they will get bullied if they were allowed to eat all the candy they want, or all the juice they want. So at party days, there's no limitation, but party days is the indulgence for that week. About the blood work, I always get some full blood count, fasting glucose, fasting lipid profile, liver study, and vitamin D evaluation. And when necessary, I order a fasting insulin, a thyroid study, and abdominal ultrasound. I do not get to see severe obesity, obesity-associated morbidity, like hypertension or diabetes, and secondary cases of obesity. About reevaluation, I always schedule my children 3 months apart, and if they follow the rules we get, and no workup changes were taken and no criteria for referral, they stay in my care. About in my experience, in my workplace there is more than 16,000 patients for 9 physicians. From those, 3,724 are children, most of them between 10 and 14 years old. About this, only 101 are identified as obese, and only 32 were referred to my care. So a lot of work must be done in these numbers. I will talk to you about my care between June of 2015 and October 2016. My first appointments usually take 45 minutes to 1 hour, and the follow-up appointments 30 minutes. Every appointment is preceded by a nurse evaluation. She always evaluates height, blood pressure, abdominal perimeter, and risk factor assessment. About the 52 children that were referred to my appointment, I only get to see 32, because 2 were discharged in the first appointment, 1 to psychological care, and 1 to a pediatrician, because it was a secondary cause of obesity. 7 showed up at the first appointment but never showed up after that. I called all of them, and all of the families said that they were not interested in my care, and 11 of those were never attended for the first appointment. I called all of the families, and they said to me that childhood obesity is not a problem, so they were not interested in my care. About those 32 children, 21 were female, average of age about 10 years, and 11 males, average of age about 8 years. Most of them belong to a nuclear family type, and all consider the family a source of support, except 5 cases. And we all have, in cases of divorce, family with marital problems, or problems in relationships between father and children. 28 had family problems, 1 sudden death case, 28 cardiovascular risk factors, and 20 had close relatives with obesity or overweight. About baby nutrition, they all had no problems with food diversification. All parents denied wrong nutrition after 1 year. They all were breastfed, except 1 case by option of the mother, but 27 had porridge at first food. Relevant disorder, 1 case of anorexia in a female patient with 12 years old that I referred to pediatric and psychiatry attention. All cases were primary cases of obesity, and all of them had wrong eating habits and a level of exercise below the minimum. But I would like to say that in public schools in Portugal, the children are allowed to drink chocolate milk. So, about the previous attempts to reverse obesity, 12 of them had a previous attempt, and as we all can see in the last square, that's not a success results for me, because 10 of them gained weight, 12 of them lowered their BMI but still remained obese, 7 of them became overweight, and 3 of them became with normal weight, but 1 of these 3 cases is the anoretic girl. About comorbidities, 7 of them didn't have any problem, 16 vitamin D insufficiency, 2 of them severe obesity, 4 resistant to insulin or a psychiatric disorder, 2 of them hepatic steatosis, and 6 lipid disorder. And this is my last slide. So, positive things about my experience. I think, and I think that we are the front line in primary care, in health care, sorry, but in childhood obesity, we must be the front line. We know the family, we know the child, we know the community, but I don't have any resources to support me. I don't have the nutritional support, psychological support, for instance. In my city, in my workplace, some of the patients, we detect lack of belief in the family physician. So they don't trust us, they don't think family, they don't think childhood obesity is a problem, and that's a problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susana, for this really challenging topic, and that you work with it. Questions? Okay.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I would like to ask you, where did you base your research for the questionnaire and for the 15 rules? Thank you.
There's a site in Portugal that is, in Portuguese it is Plataforma contra a Obesidade Infantil. In English it is Platform Against Childhood Obesity Platform, okay? So there's a questionnaire there about 20 pages, but it's not appropriate for primary health care. So I joined some information from there. In some information from the appointments I get to see in the hospital that I refer to.
And how about the 15 rules?
The appointments at the yes.
Any more questions?
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Am I right to say, are you a trainee or a GP already?
Sorry.
Are you a GP trainee or a GP?
A resident.
Finished a resident, okay. So is this part of the training or
No.
of the specialized clinic you're particularly
In
interested
the
in?
third, our residency lasts for 4 years. And since my 3rd year, I get to do this appointment, childhood obesity. But in my unit, all residents can do, I think, I'm not saying it right, a thematic appointment. I get to do childhood obesity, colleague tobacco,
different topics, okay, depending on interest. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Because I have a question. You mentioned in the beginning the rules for the children.
Yes.
So with the allowance of one day where they can indulge, at the party day, or?
No, party day, it's the ultimate exception, okay?
It's an exception.
Okay. The indulgence day, it's like Wednesday. I get to eat McDonald's, just one meal. Or when my grandparents get me from school, I can eat the candy.
Okay, that's interesting because then it's psychologically it's associated with something positive to eat something bad for your health. Okay.
But it's that way, or it's
and are there rules,
every day.
Are there rules for the parents too? Because in order to indulge, I have to have somebody who buys the candy.
That's
the
big problem. Not the parents, the grandparents.
The
That's the problem. Yes, they all must do these rules, not just the child.
Okay. So, thank you very much again, Susana.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I invite the next speaker, Pepa Ferreira. She will talk to us about the other end of our treatment line, about challenges in primary care practice when dealing with older people. She put this together with Gergana Foreva, Radost Asenova, and Kiril Elenski from Bulgaria.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Pepa, I'm from Bulgaria, and we do face a lot of challenges when we are dealing with older patients. And it's a problem not only in my country, but in Europe, as you can see. The economic growth strategy projected that in 20 years, actually, the older populations will increase by 45%, which is not a fact that we can ignore. Unfortunately, my country is a country with very fast growing old population, and it is one of the oldest countries in Europe. So as you can see, 19% of the European population is age 65 and above, but for Bulgaria, this percentage is 20.4. Unfortunately, in 2025, we do expect people age 65 and above to be 25%, which means 1 in each 4 patients will be an old person. An aging population has really challenging health and social issues. I truly believe that primary care is the place that we can break this vicious circle. And it's well known to all of you. For old people, the medical problems, the social problems, and increasing functional decline is actually, it's very costly. It's costly for themselves, it's costly for the health system, and it makes everybody unhappy. What is the Bulgarian health system look like? So it's unfortunately very, very fragmented model of care. It's based on organ-specific diseases, does not recognize the specific health needs that older people have, does not acknowledge that medical treatment is not enough when you are dealing with older patients. In order to ensure their well-being, you have to think the social side, their physical side, and so many other things need to be taken into consideration. The communication between primary and secondary care is not always reliable. There is a delay in passing the information, and the information that is important for hospital physicians, and they usually write it on the discharge letter, is not always that important for us, but other issues are not acknowledged in this discharge letter. The biggest challenge, actually, is that we do not have any training in elderly care medicine. Actually, in Bulgaria, geriatrics does not exist as a specialty. No one gets any kind of education in medical school or during their training as a specialist or as general practitioners. So, and as a result of this is my friend Kaman, who unfortunately died. He was 75 years old, gentleman with mild dementia. He was doing pretty well. He was able to look after his grandchildren on the weekend. And unfortunately, one day he had a fall. And one day, his doctor came to my clinic and said to me, well, you have to help me. My father is dying. I cannot look after him anymore. And I said, help you? How? How it's happening? What happened to him? I saw him not long ago. And then she told me the story. I'll cut the story short because we don't have much time, but he fractured his hip. He ended up in the hospital. He was discharged there, and within a month and a half, he had 6 hospital admissions. And after each admission, his medical problem was sorted. But this person was getting worse and worse, and he could not look after himself, and the family was struggling. So finally, he ended up with developing pressure sores. He couldn't mobilize at all. His mental health deteriorated to the point that he could not stay on his own. And the family decided to put him in a nursing home, and unfortunately he died. And I was so touched by this story. She said, we must do something. There must be a way how we can stop this, do some prevention in primary care, and of course facilitate a recovery at home. So we couldn't do anything for Kaman, but there are so many people like him. In our practice, we are 4 general practitioners, and our practice has 4,200 patients. Approximately 20% of them are age 65 and above, but more than 50% of the consultation time is spent on these patients. So I sat with my colleagues, we sat together, and we knew that we didn't have any support, and we could not get any support from the health system in Bulgaria. But we needed to do something, and for small proportion of patients, just to help them and see could it be done in a bigger scale. But it was a little step that we wanted to take and see what the results will be. So within 6 months, we've implemented comprehensive geriatric assessment in primary care. For my colleagues from the UK, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. We implemented false assessment checklist, and we started educational sessions for patients and their relatives. So comprehensive geriatric assessment, this is your crash course in Bulgarian. So it is few pages documents. It includes medical problem, but also all the emotional issues, all the worries that the patient has, their sleeping pattern, their eating patterns, their level of continence. Actually, sorry, this is the last page. Right, this is how the patient lives in a flat or in a house, who does the shopping, who takes care of dressing, washing, and all these basic stuff that as young people we take for granted, but they are actually challenging daily issues for all the people. This is the physical examination. This is the medication list and other. And in the end, of this geriatric passport is actually a list of problems and a plan how we are going to work with the patient. And for some patients, we started discussing resuscitation issue as well in the primary care. Right. Sorry about that. So what are the challenges that we are facing when we are delivering comprehensive geriatric assessment in primary care? First, it requires time to do it, and it's not always available. Then doing this document only once is not enough because the person changes. So all the changes we need to acknowledge in this document, so we do need regular follow-ups. There is a paper copy, no electronic version for now, and if other health professionals will see this document or not, it depends entirely on the patient. If the patient will take this paperwork copy to the other colleague or not. So that's not great. The second thing that we did was implementation of this false assessment checklist. You can't see it very well. I hope on the next slide you see it. Unfortunately, it's for a risk assessment only on medical factors. Sorry. Then I'll just this. The best thing that we've done so far is the patient education. And I just want to share one thing. These are the 5 educational sessions that we ran in our practice. Dementia is not recognized as a problem in our country. People don't share it, they don't talk about this, and they are in a gap. The patients are in a gap, their relatives are in a gap, and the health professionals are just like ostriches. We try not to see it. So we organize these events where we invite people, mainly people that look after people with dementia, and we told them about what is dementia, how to communicate, little things that they can do. And the best thing that came is that we could see people helping each other, the growing community of patients and their relatives that are getting together to tackle the challenges, and we just facilitate this. So this is one of the best things that we've done. Of course, there are some challenges there as well, but what we want to turn our primary care practice, it's our inspiration in regards to elderly care. We do want to become a best practice, a center of excellence, delivering best care for all the people. And this is the way how we intend to do it. So, thank you very much. Any questions, any suggestions, please share.
Thank you very much, Pepa. Yeah, and good luck with this great challenge for being the best practice and center for this in Europe. Okay, any questions? So, anybody? All good. Yes.
I feel that WHO has a program to support primary care initiative. Do we have contact with WHO representation in Bulgaria, in your country? You never have the ID to go to WHO local representative? You don't know?
No.
Okay,
we
try.
haven't. But there is a forum coming up in March, so we are going to present this. Also, there is an open day in the Bulgarian Parliament, and I'm planning to attend the healthcare group day in the Parliament and discuss these issues with them as well. We are collecting some data, because when you speak with data in hands, it's much stronger talk.
Okay. I have a second suggestion. You do well in your sheet to use problem list. It's very good. And I suggest you code your problem list with ICPC. So you will be able to make statistics on your data and on the multimorbidity of your patient. And politics they like a lot statistics.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Pepa.
Thank you.
Okay, now we invite the last speaker for this session, Sara Andrade from Lisbon. She has the presentation made together with Cristina Bastos, and it will be about eating healthy and mindfully while pregnant.
Well, hello, my name is Sara. I'm going to present this work. It's a nutrition intervention that we've done with pregnant women. We know maternal nutrition is extremely important for both mother and child health. A good nutrition will reduce the risk of stillbirth, will reduce the risk of birth defects and improve fetal genetic and fetal growth, and will help the mother to maintain an adequate weight gain during pregnancy. Some studies show that mindful eating may provide a way to achieve a good nutrition during pregnancy and so to improve all these aspects. So the aim of this work was to improve nutritional knowledge, to promote informed dialogue about nutrition, and to encourage a healthy nutrition during pregnancy and lactation. The work was developed in Western Lisbon and Oeiras Health Centers group during the months of October, November, and December 2017. The participants were pregnant women and some of their partners who were participating in the parenthood preparation courses of our health centers group. We had a total of 26 participants, 5 men and 21 women. To get to know our participants, we applied the questionnaire, and here are some of the results. Most of the participants were between 30 and 39 years old. In education, the majority of participants had a higher educational level. The gestational age of the pregnant women varied between 31 and 39 weeks. Most of them had 37 weeks of gestational age. In the questionnaire, we made the question, did you receive any nutritional counseling during your pregnancy? 15 said no, 11 said yes. From these 11, 37% said that they received the counseling from their family doctor, 27% from the nurse, 27% from their obstetrician, and 9% from the nutritionist. To assess the nutritional knowledge, we made 20 questions in the questionnaire prior to our intervention. 20 questions about nutrition, and here are some of the results. Do you know how should the weight evolve during pregnancy? 22 participants said yes, 4 said no. Are there particular foods that mothers should or should not eat when breastfeeding? 15 said yes, 11 said no. Is the weight loss fast after labor? 6 participants said yes. Can you drink coffee while breastfeeding? 14 said no. Can you drink alcohol during pregnancy? 21 said no. 5 said yes. Can you eat a vegetarian diet while breastfeeding? 21 said no. Do you need extra calories during breastfeeding? 20 said no. Do you need extra calories during pregnancy? 20 said no. Do you know what is mindful eating? 22 said no. So what did we do? We developed nutrition workshops. Each workshop had a duration of 90 minutes. We made a total of 3 workshops, 1 workshop per course. Each workshop had about 7 participants. We used a PowerPoint presentation, and the workshop was designed to give opportunity to interactive group work, group discussion about specific problems, and exercises, individual and group exercises. like calculating body mass index, analyzing food labels, and true or false exercises. Here are the themes included in our workshop. We talk about weight gain during pregnancy, weight loss during lactation, nutritional myths and facts, food safety, especially during pregnancy, healthy cooking and some tips for healthy cooking, mindful eating, and how to analyze food labels. We try to talk about all the aspects that were asked in the questionnaire. We talk about alcohol, caffeine, food restrictions, and scientific evidence behind the food restrictions, nutritional guidelines for pregnancy and lactation, vegetarian diets, and the need for some supplementation in some situations. We talk about how to practice mindful eating, especially in the daily routine. This work had some limitations. The nutritional knowledge was not assessed after the workshop. The workshop was not evaluated, the presentation, the teams, the high literacy of the participants. We know that participants with lower level of education have more need for nutritional intervention. The session should have taken place earlier in the pregnancy and the small sample size. Despite these limitations, we can say that the nutritional knowledge of the participants was good but needed improvement on some points. Only 42% of the participants had nutritional counseling, and the participants seemed to enjoy this approach, and they comment on how useful it had been for them. Here's some evidence. Counseling about healthy eating is recommended. Pregnancy is an opportunity for health providers to deliver information to pregnant women. The best practices include frequent motivational counseling and supervised group or home exercise programs, and the nutrition intervention will have a positive effect on pregnant women independent of their age or literacy. So we can conclude that all health workers should mobilize support for good maternal nutrition at different levels: health service, community, and family. Only working with patients and community, the teamwork, collaborating with other professionals, we can reach mother and child best interest and everyone's best interest. Only all together we can reach high quality care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sara. Questions? Everything clear about how to eat while pregnant? I have a question.
Yes.
The one is how many ladies, people were altogether?
26.
26.
Yes.
And they were all from the same socioeconomic level or educational level, or were they different?
Most of them had a higher educational level, yes, but there was some with secondary here.
Here, okay.
Yes.
And also for the dietary counseling, was that they say they received from either the nutritionist, or was this voluntarily by them that they were actively seeking for it, or?
The question was,
offered?
did you receive, then who gave it? And some said that it was the obstetrician, some said family doctor. Okay. They have not seek for it.
Okay, so it's that the family doctor offers.
Yes, 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 yes.
So, any questions? No more questions? Okay, thank you very much, Sara.
Thank you.
So this was the last talk from this session. We are finished a little bit earlier. So thank you all for coming. And I don't know what the plans are. If you want to start earlier with the next session? No. Okay, so you can use the time. Thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day. And of course the evening dinner. Bye.